What's going on? Welcome to another episode of Off the Schneid. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Minnesota Vikings and their draft needs heading into the 2021 NFL Draft. A lot of draft capital. Last year they had the most in the league. I think it was like 15 picks, 10 this year. Quality picks. They got, I don't know, 8 in the top, call it 150. That's a lot of quality draft capital. All of their picks are inside the top 200, and not a ton of holes. I caught a fair amount of heat from Vikings fans last year saying that I think that they take a step back and miss the playoffs, which all of that did happen. Turns out I was actually correct there. And then they get back to the playoffs this season, and that's exactly what I see happening. I think that they improved where they needed to improve. They brought in a ton of talent, a ton of depth, a lot of guys that can play, and I think they do get back to the playoffs this year. So if we're looking at their needs, 14th overall, no second round picks, but they do, again, have a ton of draft capital. So I will be looking at the Vikings to potentially trade down. I'll say that right off the top. I think there's a good potential, depending on who's there and what's going on by the time the draft gets to them. I think that there could be some movement there. I think that they are going to need to start thinking about quarterback. Kirk Cousins is 100% the guy this year, no questions asked, but they can save $35 million releasing him after this season. Cap hit of 45 million, dead cap of 10. You do the math. He'll be 34. So not that that's crazy old for a quarterback, that's for sure. And Kirk Cousins definitely still can get the job done. It's just whether or not they still think that he's their guy. And maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know. But I think that an interesting thought I'm going to probably throw out there in my mock draft is and an interesting name. I need to do a little more research to see if they were at his pro day. Have they met with him? Blah, blah, blah. I haven't gone that far quite yet. But Kyle Trask, I think, is a name that would fit this offense a fair bit, in my opinion. I think that he could be fairly similar to Kirk Cousins. That's kind of the comparable that I have for Kyle Trask. Could be completely wrong, You're afraid to be wrong and never be right. So that's what I think. We'll see what they do, though. We'll see if they want. I might float that around. I'm definitely going to have it as an idea moving into my mock draft. Keep an eye out for that coming out in the next couple weeks. As far as linebacker, I think that they're obviously in a good spot with their starters, their starter and backup. I think Alexander Mattison might be, if not the best, one of the best backups in the game as far as running back. I think he's very, very quality. I don't know if he would come back after the contract's up. I think he would like to have a shot at being a starter somewhere, and I don't think he's going to get that in Minnesota. So we'll see, but right now he's a fantastic complement and backup handcuff to Dalvin Cook, absolutely. Amir Abdullah is still there playing on special teams and everything like that. I think with the draft couple they have, they definitely look to draft a running back somewhere to add some depth. I don't think Amir Abdullah can really get it done, if they needed him to. I think Boone was a very good back to have there. Obviously he moved on, but I think they do draft a guy there. Wide receivers, they absolutely need to add another one, in my opinion. Justin Jefferson was my number one wide receiver in the draft last year. He went way further down than I ever thought he would. And it was a fantastic landing spot. Makes tons of sense. Him and Adam Thielen were great together last year, especially when Thielen was healthy and playing fully healthy, because he definitely had some lingering there. But they are fantastic, and I think they could add another. They definitely need to add another. BC Johnson's not the guy. Chad Beebe, good complimentary. KJ Osborne, kick returner, punt returner type of guy, but I don't think he's really, a solid receiving threat. So I add a wide receiver absolutely with one of those third, fourth round picks for sure. If not, I probably go with two. I probably add two wide receivers that can be quality. Seems like they're finally going to let Irv swerve in there. Irving Irv Smith, tight end. I think he's going to take a huge leap forward, in my opinion. I quite like him heading into, if you're a fantasy player. I think he has a pretty reasonable chance at, I would probably say, doubling his yard potential and adding a couple more touchdowns on there. call it, around 600 yards and 8 touchdowns, something like that for Irv Smith. And then Tyler Conklin finally got a shot to kind of play a little more and be a receiving threat, and he passed with flying colors. So I think they're probably okay there. They might look to add a depth guy, a lot of capital, so they might look to add a depth guy there. I think where it's going to get interesting with the Vikings is their offensive line, left tackle. Is Ezra Cleveland going to be your left tackle? I don't know. I mean, you might give him a shot, maybe not. Either way, I think he plays on this line somewhere, but I think you got to bring in some depth and competition pieces there. Mason Cole, Drew Samia are still there. They can, or Cole came in, but either way, they're there. Rashad Hill. They got a lot of good depth, a lot of solid starters. Brian O'Neill, Garrett Bradbury's there, Dakota Dozier, yeah, however you say his last name, were there. These are all quality guys, but you need to add competition, have the best 5 guys out there, and is Ezra Cleveland going to be your left tackle in the future? We'll see. I would probably look to add a swing tackle at least in the draft, and a guy that can compete, at the very least, compete with Ezra Cleveland for that spot. Maybe Rashad Hill too, for that left tackle spot. And again, like I said, I'll say it over and over: just have the best 5 guys out there on your line. Move to the defensive side of the ball. Cornerback is always coveted in Mike Zimmer defenses, pretty much always since the Cincy days. He always has a bunch that can play, and they have an absolute bevy of guys that can play. Patrick Peterson comes in. Mike Hughes is a former first-round pick. Jeff Gladney, Cam Dantzler I really like. Mackenzie Hughes comes back. Harrison Hand is there. They got a lot of DBs that can play. Absolutely. And then Harrison Smith is one of the best safeties in the game, I think, and that might just be in my opinion, but I really, really like Harrison Smith. He can definitely still get the job done. Xavier Woods comes in, and we'll see what he didn't look great with the Cowboys last year, but this is a much better team defense here, so I think he could shine. I think he can be a quality player, and with this defense, I think he can be that much better. Moving towards the line, Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks are both solid. Nick Vigil comes in. Ryan Connolly comes in. Troy Dye is there. They got some guys that can play. Like, again, you might, with all the depth, you probably add a competition linebacker, depth guy to come in, compete, be, special teams, that kind of a thing. But they're relatively set there at linebacker as far as starters are concerned. But again, depth, competition. On the line, I think they got a lot of guys that can get the job done getting after the quarterback. Daniil Hunter, very, very, very good. Stephen Weatherly, very good. Jalen Holmes, I like. Kenny Willekes, I like. DJ Wanham, I like. And then on the line, Dalvin Tomlinson, Michael Pierce, James Lynch. They could definitely look to add a big body in the middle. And another guy to get after the quarterback always is helpful. You're not sure if Holmes, Wanham, Willekes, are going to be that guy. So you can add some competition there. But I think in the interior of the line, they're definitely going to need some help. So they could look to add a big body in there. But good looking team. Like I said, I fully expected them to take a step back last year, which they did. And now I fully expect them to take a step forward again this year and get back to the playoffs. So yeah, not a crazy amount of needs. They got a ton of draft capital. I definitely could see them trading, maybe adding some second round picks, maybe moving up into the top 10. I don't know. We'll take a look, keep an eye out for that mock draft. I'm definitely going to take a hard look at the Vikings, at what I think they could do and what the possibilities are for them in the draft. I think they could be a wild card. They could shake it up for sure. They have the capital to make some moves. So we'll see. There you go. Let me know what you think in the comments. Appreciate the watch. Leave a like and subscribe on your way out, and we'll catch you on the next breakdown video.